Hello friends, welcome to my channel Simple Gardening. In this video, I will be demonstrating on how to make organic fertilizer at home in a very simple way. Growing our plants by using organic fertilizers is the safest way in order to protect the environment as well as the health of yourself. As I said earlier, we are not feeding the plant, we are feeding the soil by which the plant is getting benefited. I would like to showcase my experience of using chemical fertilizer on my calamandan orange plant. So what I have done is I bought some chemical fertilizer, and as per the recommended dosage I had given, but it started to wither away, and later I understood it's because of high dosage of fertilizer which I had given. Unlike chemical fertilizers, organic fertilizers feed the plant in a slow and steady manner, which doesn't impact the health of the soil as well as the health of the plant. As we all know, the macronutrients and the micronutrients which are required for the plant to grow. So if we see, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium are the macronutrients, and nitrogen helps in greening up the plant, phosphorus helps in root development, and potassium helps in shelf life of the product. So if you see any fertilizer, whether it's organic or else inorganic, it has some ratios. For example, 5, 10, 15, which is being shown on the screen. 5% is of nitrogen, 10% is of phosphorus, and 15% is of potash. This is calculated to every fertilizer, whether it is organic or inorganic. And the deficiency of macronutrients is clearly visible. This is nitrogen deficiency. The leaf turns pale green to yellow in color, and whereas in phosphorus deficiency the leaves and stems turn into purple color, whereas the potassium deficiency, the borders of the leaf get burnt and they get crumpled easily. So this is a broader term of deficiencies which I am explaining. And let us see what are the ingredients are required for making my organic fertilizer. As I said earlier, an organic fertilizer constitutes of either a single product or else a multi-product, which can be altered by the requirement of your plant or else by the requirement of the soil. For my organic fertilizer, I have used almost 10 types of products which are organic, and let us see the individual products. The first one is mustard cake powder, and the requirement for making 1 kg of fertilizer, I am using 100 grams of mustard cake fertilizer. It contains 3.5% of nitrogen, phosphorus 1.6 and 1.2 of potassium. So this mustard cake powder is easily available at oil production shops. This is available everywhere. And the second one is groundnut cake powder. The ratio I had taken is 100 grams, and the ratios of NPK are 5.5, 1.4 and 1.3. The groundnut cake is available in two forms. One is solid cake form, and the second one is in the form of powder. And using a powder form of fertilizer is very easy for the plants to absorb the nutrients. These are easily available in oil milling shops. And the third ingredient is the neem cake powder. Neem cake powder, here I am using 150 grams, and it contains 3% of nitrogen, 1% of phosphorus and 1.7% of potassium. The major advantage of neem cake powder is it acts as a fertilizer as well as it acts as a soil conditioner, and the most important thing is it acts as an insecticide which prevents nematodes, root grubs, etc., which are found in the soil. It acts as a very good pesticide in the soil. And the next ingredient is banana peel powder. What I had done is I had taken 100 grams of this powder. In order to get that, we have to dry the peels of banana. After drying it, I have made it into this powder, and this is very much rich in potassium. It contains 7% of potassium and 1% of phosphorus, and it is very good for fruiting trees. In order to get my 100 gram of this banana dried peel powder, I have used 24 banana peels. The next ingredient is the steamed bone meal. I have used 100 grams of ratio, and this is rich in phosphorus, 9% of phosphorus and 2% of nitrogen. Potassium is 0. If you are a vegan and if you don't prefer any animal byproduct as a fertilizer, then you can use rock phosphate instead of steamed bone meal. This is very useful for inducing the root growth of the plant. The next ingredient is vermicompost. Vermicompost is also called as black gold, and I am using 250 grams of this. This contains 2% of N, 1% of P and 1% of potassium. This is very rich in micronutrients and amino acids. Actually, this is a complete food for the plant. So we are using it in the majority of the portion of 250 grams in 1 kg of my organic fertilizer. As we know, vermicompost is derived from earthworms, which decomposes the food and break down into the powder form called as vermicompost. The next ingredient is the sheep manure. I'm using 200 grams of sheep manure. It contains 2% of nitrogen, 1% of phosphorus and 1.8% of potassium. This contains some traces of micronutrients also. So what I have done is I have taken the sheep manure pellets and I have pulverized into this sort of powder. So it will be very easy for me in order to prepare the manure. This is very good for plants and it releases nutrients in a very steady way. For any organic fertilizer or else chemical fertilizer, if the plant wants to absorb the nutrients, it requires some microbial activity which will be induced by using trichoderma. This acts as a great fungicide and it helps in maintaining the plant health very excellent. And the second one is Pseudomonas. I'm using 80 grams. It's a very good, it controls fungicides, it controls plant diseases, many plant diseases, and it also induces plant growth hormones. I'm using 80 grams of Pseudomonas, and these are optional. Either you like it, you can use, or else you can skip this. And the last ingredient is VAM. VAM is a mycorrhizae. I'm using 60 grams of it. It helps in maintaining a symbiotic relationship with plant roots and which indirectly helps in absorption of nutrients and water, as well as it increases the drought resistance capacity of the plants. So friends, these are all the ingredients. Now let's see how to prepare the organic fertilizer. Just take all the ingredients what I have taken and you have to maintain the ratios which I had shown you on the screen. So one by one, so I am adding neem cake powder, and as I told you, every fertilizer has its own nutrient content of NPK. And now what we are trying to do is we are trying to make a final ratio which will be very well encouraged, which will be very well supported for the plant when we apply it. As I said earlier, chemical fertilizers might be balanced fertilizers like 1919, 2020 or else 10-10-10, but the microbial activity under chemical fertilizer applications is very minimal, whereas by using organic fertilizer, the soil health will be enriched as well as the microbial activity will be very much enriched in a way the plant will be very healthy from external factors. But one thing we have to remember, if we are using organic fertilizers, the plant will not show an immediate boost in its growth or else its appearance. But however, the growth is very steady, and even though it's slow, the plant will be very much benefited. As a matter of fact, if you are using chemical fertilizers, you have to use it either once in a week or 10 days. But whereas you use organic fertilizer, once in a month is sufficient. And there are some organic fertilizers which feeds up to 3 months also. Once you had added all the ingredients into a mixing bowl, just mix all the ingredients very well so that all the ingredients are mixed in a proper way. And that's it. Our organic fertilizer is ready. And Since I had said many different ratios of NPKs, by mixing all these, the final NPK ratio is 18% of nitrogen, 16% of phosphorus, and 14% of potassium. This made up ratio of nutrients balances the plant growth in a very well mannered way, and it feeds the plant up to 30 days. This organic fertilizer which I had made not only contains NPK, micronutrients, it also contains calcium also. Of course, calcium is also a macronutrient. Since we are using steamed bone meal, and as I said, if you're not interested with the animal byproduct fertilizer, you can go for rock phosphate. It also contains almost from 9 to 14% of phosphorus and calcium also. Since I used steamed bone meal, this contains 18% of calcium also, which is very useful for chilies, almost all the plants like tomatoes, vegetables, everything. So now let's apply to the plants. So this is my lemon tree in a 16-inch container. Almost 1 month back, I had given some kelp solution in the form of drenching to the plant, and later I did not apply any sort of fertilizer. So now I am planning to give my homemade organic fertilizer to this plant. So always remember, when you are giving fertilizer, whatever the fertilizer, first you have to rake the soil. It makes the soil loose around the plant so that the wastage of fertilizers will be very much minimized. And for a plant, this is a 2-year-old plant, so I am using 2 handfuls of organic fertilizer. A handful can be almost 50 grams of the fertilizer. So 2 handfuls means I have used 100 grams of fertilizer for a 2-year-old tree in a 16-inch pot. Once you have applied the fertilizer, incorporate into the soil so that we can avoid the wastage of fertilizer, as well as it helps the plant in order to intake the fertilizer in an easy way. Once you have incorporated the fertilizer well into the top layer of the soil, irrigate lightly so that the fertilizer is well mixed into the soil. And I can ensure this fertilizer will feed the plant up to a maximum of 30 days. 30 days, the plant will be very happy since it gets a continuous supply of nutrients. If it is a bigger plant, like if it is a bigger tree, you can go like up to 3 handfuls or 5 handfuls based upon the size of the tree and age of the tree. And coming to a smaller plant, this is a small lime plant which is 1 year old. It's just I have planted in a 12-inch pot. I'm just using 1.5 scoop. A scoop is calculated as 25 to 30 grams. So I'm using 1.5 scoop, which means almost it's coming up to 45 grams. So just as I said, just rake the fertilizer into the soil, incorporate very well into the soil, and later irrigate it lightly so that the plant will absorb all the nutrients slowly. By using this fertilizer, there will be no side effects. I ensure this. There will be no side effects for your plant or for the person who is gardening, as well as to the soil. This is very much healthy. The products which I have used are completely organic. There will be no sort of side effects even if the fertilizer is applied a bit little higher quantities. So friends, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and if you like the video, please like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel Simple Gardening. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.